Hello class, this is Tony Ybarra. I want to present a masterclass on the blues, jazz blues to be specific. I've taught long enough to recognize a certain tendency students have when playing the blues. Most students who have played for a little while know what the blues is and they know what chords are used. But when it comes to playing blues in a jazz setting, typically they don't know the other possibilities that are available, or they don't know harmonizations that are typically used in the blues. I hope this video will help give you some ideas and open your harmonic vocabulary a little bit more. I will be discussing 4 different types of blues, starting from the beginning standard blues to more advanced jazz harmonies. I'd like to focus on 4 different blues today. Your standard 3-chord blues, and then develop it by adding harmonies and extensions to your chords so that you're playing more of a jazz style blues. We're going to focus on the key of B flat. So get ready. Let's start with the first basic blues progression in B flat. We're going to start with our basic B flat blues progression. 3 chords. The first chord being B flat 7, which you can play like this, or some of you may know it like this as a bar chord. Both are fine. B flat 7. We would play this for 4 measures. 2, 3, 4. Second measure, 2, 3, 4. Third measure. Fourth measure. Now we're going to switch to the 4 chord, which is E flat 7. Typically we would play it like this. Some may know this shape, this E flat 7 shape. That's fine too. But let's try to stay in the same position. I'm starting here on the 6th fret and I'm moving to the E flat 7 on the 6th fret. Makes it easy. So we have 2 measures of E flat 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Then we go back to B flat 7 for 2 more measures. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Here we're going to go to the 5 chord, which is F7. We're going to play it on the 8th fret here. Similar shape to E flat 7, just a couple frets down. And we're going to play this for 1 measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then back down to E flat for 1 measure. Then back to B flat for 1 measure. And then we finish it with a 5 chord. Okay? So I'm going to play this with some time and to give you an idea of how this typically sounds. 2, 1, 2, 3. flat 7. This is our first blues. Back to B flat 7. Now F7. Back to E flat 7. Back to B flat 7. F7. Here it is again. Okay, I'll now zoom in so you can see my left hand more clearly. See where I'm placing my fingers and what fingers I'm using. Some of these might be new to you, but you'll be able to check out where I'm placing my fingers right now. Here is exercise 1. B flat 7. First finger on the 6th fret of your 6th string. Your middle finger is going to skip a string and play the 6th fret of your 4th string. Your third finger is going to play the 6th fret of your 2nd string with your pinky playing the 7th fret of your G string. Notice we're skipping the 5th string and we're not playing the 1st string. So you're going to mute those with your other fingers. You can strum all the way through, or you can grip the chord with your right hand, whichever is easiest. Okay? You can also play it as a bar chord, where you bar the 1st fret like this, add your middle finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and then your ring finger here, right here, on the 8th fret of the 5th string, strum all 6. You'd see this shape in rock and roll a lot. This is more of a specific voicing used in jazz. So that's B flat 7. E flat 7 would look like this. You're going to bar the 6th fret. You're going to add your pinky here on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then you're going to put your 3rd finger on the 8th fret of the 4th string, and you're going to strum from the 5th string down. Just like that. Let's come up a little closer here. Okay, then you take this same shape and you slide it down 2 frets, and you've got F7, same shape. Okay, and then back to B flat 7. All right, class, we're going to move on to exercise 2. Notice on the sheet music, we've added some extra chords. We're now developing a more jazz blues progression. You'll notice right away in the second measure we have an E flat 7, which goes back to B flat 7, B flat 7. Then we go to the E flat 7. From here, we're going to add E diminished, which is very similar to E flat 7 in shape, but it's creating a little more dissonance, a little more tension. Then we go back to B flat 7, and then move to G7, then C minor 7, F7, or F7 like this, B flat 7, then F7. So by adding these extra harmonies, we are now adding more color and possibilities to the blues. Okay, I'll play it for you right now. Okay, class, I'm going to zoom in right now so you can check out the new voicings on this blues. So pay attention to what fingers I'm using, what frets I'm going to, and play along. Exercise 2, class. We're going to work with our B flat 7, E flat 7, and F7, but we're going to add a couple chords. So here we've got B flat 7, then to E flat 7, back to B flat 7, again B flat 7, then to E flat 7. Here's our new chord, E diminished 7. It's very similar. We're going to move this shape here and put this middle finger down here while keeping this note fretted. And I'm playing the middle 4 strings. Now watch, here it is. it is again, one more time. Okay. B flat 7. Then we're going to move this shape to the 3rd fret, G7. And then C minor 7. Here we're going to bar the 3rd fret, take our middle finger, place it on the 4th fret of the 2nd string, 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string, strum from the 5th string down here. Okay, and then F7 right here, just like that B flat 7 shape, or you could play it like this. This is your standard block F7, and then back to B flat 7. Or you could play it here like your E flat 7 shape. Notice how we can move these chords around. If these chords are new to you, take your time learning them. But now we're going to move on to exercise 3. So we're going to start to develop new harmonies for some of you. First off, you're going to notice on the music that you'll see a 13, a 9, a plus symbol. If you do not know what these are, that's fine. I'll explain them to you. But take notes. Okay, here we go. A B flat 13 is a B flat dominant chord, a B flat 7, where we're adding the 13th note from the scale. So if you imagine a scale from B flat to B flat's an octave, that's 1 to 8. Then we go on to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the scale continues in the next octave, but because the register has shifted beyond an octave, we can add these extra notes on top of our dominant to add more color. A 13 is one of them. So a B flat 7 would look like this, or like this. When we add the 13, we now add this note. Hear the difference? We still have our dominant chord, but now we're adding what we call a color tone. Okay? When jazz musicians see this type of progression, they see a 7 chord, oftentimes they are going to add a 9 or a 13 or an 11 maybe, or an altered note, just to add more color to the progression. This is where jazz and your standard blues differ, because in a standard blues you'll just play the dominant chord and that's great. But in a jazz blues we like to add more harmony. So B flat 13. The next measure we have E flat 9. Okay, now that's an E flat dominant chord, but I'm adding the 9th degree of the scale on top. Then back to B flat 13. And then here I am adding an F minor 7 and B flat 13. That's called a 2-5 progression, where the dominant chord is being preceded by its 2 chord. In this case, we're now switching from B flat being our tonic, our 1 chord, now to a 5 chord. It just helps set up the 4 chord. Don't read too much into the theory part, just kind of follow what I'm doing right now. Okay, then we have our E diminished, then B flat 13, and we're still going to go to a G7, but now we're going to go to a G altered. So, and I'm adding this pinky here, this is the alter note. Then back to the C minor 7, F13. Now right here, the last 2 measures of example 3, I add some new chords. D minor 7, G13, C minor 7, F13. This is called a turnaround. This is a way to reharmonize the progression to delay the resolution. So instead of landing from F13, as we did in our previous example, to B flat 7, we're delaying that because we're going to start the blues on B flat, so we don't have to state it so quickly. So if, instead of this, we're going to create this little, it's a surprise change. And then back to B flat in the top. So this is commonly used in jazz blues. It's called a turnaround, or a 3-6-2-5. Just something you want to write over your music if you'd like. This D minor 7 would be a 3, to the 6, to the 2, to the 5. Okay, as I said, just write this information down, get it under your fingers, and the theory will come. Example 3. Adding 13s and 9s. B flat 13. Once again. Here we have 6th fret, skip a string, 6th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret. E flat 9. F minor 7, just like the C minor 7 shape in the previous example. B flat 13, E flat 9, E diminished, B flat 13, G7 augmented, or G plus 7. So 13 would be here, but we're going to slide this pinky to the 4th fret and make it an altered chord. C minor 7, F13, D minor 7, G13, C minor 7, F13, and then back to the beginning. Now we're on example 4. If you notice from the music, the first line is the same as example 3. I've changed the chords on the second line to create a chromatic movement in the harmony, making its way down to that C minor 7. And then added the B flat for the turnaround instead of the D minor. Just a couple simple changes. Let's see what that sounds like. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Moving this shape down. Exercise 4. B flat 13, E flat 9, B flat 13, E flat 9, E diminished, 13. Work your way down. Okay, let me show you what I just did. I started with B flat 13. I've moved it up the neck 1 fret, so I'm on the 5th fret here. Then I moved it to the 4th fret, to the 3rd fret. So I have B flat 13 to A 13 to A flat 13 to G 13, then to C minor 7, then to F 13, and then to B flat 13. Turn around. I played a little longer, did a few more rounds, added some variations. But that's what we do as jazz musicians. We learn the technique, we learn how these chords fit, we learn where they're supposed to go, and then we develop a library of ideas we can throw in at any time. You notice I played it the first time straight, and then I started to add and move things around. So what I want you to understand is that you don't have to be stuck with just one pattern. You don't have to be stuck with one shape. Here's B flat, here's B flat, here's E flat, here's E flat, here's B flat 13, here's B flat 9, here's F9, here's F13. So when we're playing the blues or playing with a group, we have options. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm adding some new harmony. Another one. Just different variations on a theme here. But first you have to understand the progression, and then you kind of can start working around different variations on your own. So study these, work on these changes, and I will zoom in and present them slowly, and you can see where my fingers are, and then just start playing around. You can find a backing track on YouTube and jam with the track, get comfortable playing these changes. So, and then go from one exercise to the next. So you start to develop the different possibilities that you have there. I will have a part 2 on playing chords in this register, utilizing these upper register voicings. But first, get these voicings down. Play them, memorize them, own them, and then in part 2, we'll jump right into these type of voicings. All right, happy practicing. Take it easy.